Hey everyone, a comment from Grace Morgan, I think it was. Let me double check that actually. Yep, Grace Morgan. She mentioned having an ESFP brother and just asked for a video about that. I'm not exactly sure what exactly about an ESFP that I need to be making a video about. However, let's see. Yeah, so she just said make one on ESFP personality types. So I figured I would just do my experiences with an ESFP and how that works with me as an ENTP. Honestly, actually, it depends on if it's a boy or a girl. So, boys, I don't know why. I have a really hard time talking with ESFP boys or just communicating with them in general. It's like they're performing, and so I feel like I just need to sit back and watch and like clap when necessary. However, that's like in a conversation mode. It's supposed to be two ways, so I'm supposed to respond in some way, and I'm like, I thought what you did was funny, but I feel like all I'm doing is observing all the time, and it feels kind of awkward because I'm just like, I think you're funny and I think you're cool, but there's nothing for me to say. Like, so it's a really awkward experience for me to talk with an ESFP boy. However, I find them really funny, and they're like, because they're always performing in a way. ESFPs, to me, they always just seem to be on a performance. There's always an audience, and they're always looking for an audience, it seems. And they're just always so out there, and it's really funny. I remember, I had an ESFP drummer one time, because I ran a worship band, but none of the other ones came that time, so we were just kind of left there because there was just reasons. And I'm working with Marines who are, because that's the base I'm on, and so they're really busy, and it's like their schedules are unpredictable, and so so they weren't there, so it was just me and him and the lady who administers it all. And so it was like the entire time I felt like he was on the stage and I was the audience, and it was really funny, and it was hilarious, but I just didn't feel like I had very much to offer to the conversations or anything, which I'm not I guess that's okay for an ESFP, but I feel like they would misread that maybe. I don't know. I was always worried about that. Girls, however, I get along really well with them. I had a friend who was an ESFP girl. Like, I had a couple. The only problems is, so like, the girls all I'll meet them and I'll think, this person's so cool, like I'm gonna be their friend, and so I'll befriend them and it'll be going great, and we just talk really well, and everything goes along really smoothly, and they make me feel really energized and super extroverted. And then at a certain point, like really, really early in the friendship, they start giving me their feelings. Like, I'm feeling this, and this thing made me upset, and I'm having this deep emotional problem, and I'm just like, whoa, like, we just became friends. I'm like, okay, this is a lot of emotions all at once. That's just, because ESFPs, I mean, they're great, but they don't have really a wall too much, and so it just kind of spills all out on you. And for an ENTP, who's like, especially like, I don't know if all ENTPs are like this, but for me, and I feel like they would be, it's just a really thick wall, and you just work through it slowly in the friendship. My feelings don't do that. They're very inside, and so I'm just like, like, I'm like, I have to deal with this now. It's so, I mean, ESFPs are great, and I enjoy them, but that's my main problem. Is like, that's the main struggle I have, is like with boy ESFPs, I don't know how to talk with them, and with girl ESFPs, they have a lot of feelings that kind of come out on me all at once. So, which, I mean, it's an issue that I would work on. Really, it's like, I don't think that I wouldn't want them to change necessarily. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just like, I I have to learn to deal with that kind of things. So what else? They're definitely very out there. They're I honestly don't have, because of the two reasons, my explanation of my experiences with them, that kind of gives you an idea of why I don't have too many experiences with them, because I tend to either not get into friendship like not get to being friends with them, or don't really get to that point, or I move away from the friendship. They ESFPs and ESTPs are very bright colored people. Like they like extroverted, externally stimulating things. So they just like to stand out and be bright colored and loud, flashing music, and that's an exaggeration, of course, but you know what I mean. So ESFPs are especially like this. I call ESFPs probably the most colorful out there type. ESTPs at least have the introverted feeling to like tone them down. The ESFPs are just like raw, like explosions and bright colors and oh my gosh, everything happening at once. And ESFPs are great. So they're very in the moment, very impulsive, very just like, and and they have they're I'm pretty sure, I feel like they're just pretty open about their emotions, and their emotions are just like I think they can be really good guardians of people nonetheless. Like, even though like mature ESFPs, I feel like at least the ESFP I knew, one of the ESFPs I knew was he looked out for people, not so much in an attentive like way, like making sure, like watching to see if anyone, like I knew an ESTP one time who was really good at just like seeing people and like seeing what their needs were and like looking and saying like, okay, this person's needing this person needs this. He wasn't so much like that. Just the ESFP that I knew, it was just the kind of thing where like if something bad was happening, it was apparent that it was happening, then he would be the first on the scene to like work on like getting through it. So I feel like they have a lot of that. Tending to have a lot of feelings comes out in that way, in a good way. It's like they can be really protective for people. That's just my experience, at least. At least with guy ESFPs. I don't know about girl ESFPs. They might not be the same way. Because for some reason guys and girls tend to change things. So, but a good example of an ESFP would be, if you know the show Parks and Recreation, Andy. He's, yeah, that's a good example of one. At least from what I understand, he is one. Yeah, that's the kind of person that would end up, like, he's very in the moment. It's like, they're the kind of people who could be homeless and be okay with it. Like, I feel like. They're just very adaptive, I feel like. Because they live so much in the present that they can just really adapt to things really easily. And very extroverted. Those are really the main things that I think of when I think of ESFP. I think one thing to be careful with ESFPs is to be careful not to look over them. So sometimes people can be so extroverted and so, because they're just so open with their feelings and it seems to just flood out, and they seem to be like so happy all the time and so just going all the time, to be careful to not look over them because of those aspects. For some reason, it's like the extremes on both ends. So the extreme introvert and the extreme extrovert are easy to look over and to not take into consideration too much. Some types are different about that. Like you're sometimes they're just the type of people who you want. Sometimes you just want to like help them, lead them along, depending on what your personality type is and their personality type is. But ESFPs, just because they are very extroverted and seem really happy, or that they just because they're so open with their feelings, doesn't mean that they can't get lonely as well, and that it's not as important to keep attention on them, and they definitely do feed off of attention, I would say. So just like having eyes for them, especially, I think is important when dealing with ESFPs. Is like, be attentive to them and notice things they're doing, and don't look over their feelings. And they can be really, really great people to have in a community or to know. And like I said, they can be very adaptive and good with in the moment stressful situations, and very protective and strong people. And don't get bogged down in the stereotype of the party animal. Just like you can do that with most of the types. So I think like ISTJs and ESFPs and INTJs probably the most. ENFPs too, I would say. You can get bogged down in like just the stereotype of them, and forgetting there's more than that, and that each type is going to have a really vast, expansive like uniqueness of different people. So each ESFP is going to be different, and not all of them are going to be like crazy partiers, like, you know. Yeah, that's my summary of ESFPs. I mentioned having an ESFP drummer. Drummers are very likely to be ESFP. ESFP and ESTP are like the most common drummers. In fact, my ESTP friend is about to get drums, which I'm excited about. And yeah, so I hope that was informative and a little bit. If you want, I could go through their function sometime. But this is just my experience with ESFP. And I hope that was helpful.